Yo, what's up? It's Jason. I'm back again with another video and a record update, collection update. I've been buying tons of stuff this week. Got a big stack of records to show you guys. Got here in Toronto. Three different shops, and then you guys are going to see later on the end. There was still some more stuff that I had left behind I need to go get. So I will add that video at the very end of this one too. So yeah, I got some really good OG stuff. Got some excellent deals, some cheap heats, as Cliff would say, the vinyl cheapskate. Shout out to him. And yeah, so let's just get into this. We got all kinds of genres, of course, as usual. A lot of rock, a lot of metal. This time, some 80s new wave, some electro, and synth picks as well. So let's just get into it. Starting off right here with Anvil. I didn't have this record yet. I was kind of missing this one in the collection. Of course, I have Metal on Metal. This one I think is the follow-up to that, the second album, Forged in Fire. Killer record, heavy stuff. Of course, you got Lips there. Rob Reiner's still in the band. Going to see these guys again, I think for the third or fourth time pretty soon, in another week or so, playing here in Toronto. It's going to be killer. So, found that for $10. Actually did a lot of trade-ins for these first few records. These were the ones I picked up at BMV in Toronto, which is a huge shop, 3 floors of mostly books, but also CDs and vinyl. Vinyl down in the basement, as it should be. Got this record. Had never picked up anything from Lords of the New Church before. They're kind of like a super group, I think, in the 80s of various members of Love and Rockets and The Mission and those kind of bands. I'm not 100% sure of the band members here, but those out there who know can post down below. But this is the Method to Our Madness early record from them. Very good, sort of post-punk, new romantic stuff. Will go excellent in my sets. Now this record I've actually had in my collection before. I've had it at my shop for sale a couple times. Never kept a copy for myself, so I decided to pick up one. Again, these were all like $10-12 each. Very mint condition. It's a newer record, so hasn't been beaten up to hell. Probably not going to attempt to say this Spanish word, ciudad lineal, linear or something, I'm guessing. Anyway, Spanish synthwave post-punk band. Again, lots of great synth sounds, lyrics in Spanish, and it's on the UK label that's written in Spanish, La Vida es un Muse. Good label for a lot of hardcore punk, etc. This one more on the synth tip. That's the record, and this is the band. Again, this will go great in some of my DJ sets for post-punk and synthwave. Just kind of cool stuff. Now, getting into the classic rock here, some hard rock bangers. This, I've probably seen this record from time to time, but I never decided to pick it up, but this was the time. $7 for some Missing Links. The band is called Links, and the album is called Missing. Some 70s guitar rock here. Band out of Toronto, actually. And a lot of members in the band, actually. Five people. So, lots of guitars, keyboard, drums, bass, all that jazz. Mike Swartz was the lead vocalist, guitarist. Yeah, just some good guitar rock here for a pretty cheap price. It's a fun one. Now, then after the BMV, I made my way to another shop. Kind of a new shop for me. I hadn't been to this one yet. It's near Rotate This, which I like to hit up, and I did hit up on this trip. But for the first time, I went to a record shop called Battle Records. I think they're sort of more hip-hop oriented. A lot of turntables set up, listening booths, and DJ kind of setup. They, of course, had multiple genres, including some good cheap stuff, and small metal and punk section as well, where I found this bad boy. This is Apocalyptic Raids. Now, first you might think, hey, is this like a missing Hellhammer record that I never knew about, or some kind of reissue thing. That was my first thought, especially with all the Hellhammer kind of style design. But the only Hell in here is the Hell's Headbangers label. Um, this is actually a Brazilian band, huge fans of Celtic Frost and Hellhammer, of course, Hellhammer worship. This is called The Third Storm as well, and just totally sounds like Hellhammer stuff. Really right up that alley. Raw, rough, first wave black metal style, the war metal. Great shit. Out of Brazil. This record I think came out in 2000s, mid 2000s, and reissued on Hell's Headbangers. And then I saw this for $8, and I was like, hey, I always wanted to get some Michael Schenker on vinyl, and I think this is probably the best one to get. Actually, it's the first album he put out after formerly of UFO. Some pressings apparently don't have this formerly of UFO, I think, on the cover, but anyway, Michael Schenker is a Canadian press. Came out in 1980 on Chrysalis. A little beat up, but for $8, it plays well, actually. The vinyl is really good. And just guitars for days, right? There he is, a younger version. Are there? So, Michael Schenker of UFO and also of Scorpions. There's Brothers in Scorpions. Good classic rock, hard rock stuff. Then we got some 80s new wave here. This compilation, this soundtrack, I've actually been wanting to get this for a little while. Kind of had it on my want list, and lo and behold, I find this right away in a $5 bin, which turned out to be a $3 bin. Now, the cover is kind of heavily water damaged, but aside from that, the vinyl plays pretty nice. Of course, I'm talking about the soundtrack for Weird Science, 1980s comedy movie with Michael Anthony Hall, I think, was in this one. Yep. It's a John Hughes movie, actually. And soundtrack is pretty killer. So you got Wall of Voodoo, Kim Wilde, Lords of the New Church, which I showed earlier, and Killing Joke. Boingo Boingo doing the title track. Killing Joke track on here, 80s, one of their best, one of my favorites. Deep in the Jungle by Wall of Voodoo. And yeah, the Weird Science. Yeah, some other kind of like more obscure 80s stuff, but actually sounds pretty good. Like the Taxi song, I think, is pretty good, called Forever. So yeah, for $3, it's a bit of a fill-in, stand-in copy for now because it is pretty beat up cover. If I find it again, I'll pick it up. All right, next, talking about old school grails that I've been kind of looking for. This is sort of a funny one. A little bit of Kenny Rogers in the house. Now, I'm always on the hunt for a Kenny Rogers record that has that original track, that psychedelic song that he did back in the day, 1960s, I think, or 70s. Just dropped in to see what condition my condition is in. And there it is, listed right on the cover. So you got to go back to his older greatest hits. This has Lucille on it, but it doesn't have No One to Hold Him, The Gambler, or anything like that. That's not out yet. 10 Years of Gold here for Kenny. There he is, Kenny Rogers. And yeah, if you guys haven't heard that track, just dropped in, definitely check it out. There's a video on YouTube of that. It's pretty psychedelic. Kenny Rogers doing psych rock. It can't be beat. So that's what I got at that shop. Pretty good little haul. Spent maybe like $40 in total. Most expensive one was that Apocalyptic Raids for $25. But decent record, really cool. Hadn't seen it before. And then finally I made my way over to, I guess I got two more shops to show here. Next, I made my way over to Rotate This, which always has some good deals. They have a lot of markdown stuff, usually record store day stuff. This, I don't think, was a record store day release, but it was definitely marked down. Not quite half price. This was marked down at $20. And guess what? It's a $20 spin. I know, the humor. Ruin Lust. Choir of Babel. Not necessarily the most humorous band name. Just heavy, dark death metal. Sort of blackened a bit. Quite good. Listen to it on the headphones before I picked it up. Insert lyric stuff. Cool design. And it is, I think, a colored vinyl as well. On 20 buck spin. Bit of an EP, I think, right? Yeah. 5 tracks. Yeah, 5 tracks in total. The band's been around for a little while because there's quite a few releases, but this one came out in 2020. Again, on 20 buck spin. Ruin Lust. Here's some old school classics. Now, again, I've been buying some sort of 80s, a lot of doubles, in fact, 80s synth wave, new wave stuff, mostly for DJ sets, and some to leave here in Toronto. Got a little collection happening here as well as one in Ottawa, so this will probably stay here. Although I don't think I have, I don't know if this is a double. I don't think I had a copy of this album before. This is Speak and Spell, early Depeche Mode release. Nice cover in there. And a lot of tracks people don't know, including myself, but they're very good. Except for the very last track, of course, the big hit, Just Can't Get Enough, is on this Depeche Mode record. Good synth record. This is a double. Actually, this is a triple. Love this single. 1980s New York style with cut-up samples of Ronald Reagan saying that basically it was a phone-in interview. This is before the era of memes and AI. It was an actual thing. He phoned into a radio interview and said he was going to drop a bomb on Russia in the next 5 minutes, but then laughed and said he was only joking. So they made a nice little track out of that. This is, of course, a project of Arthur Russell, and some of the Talking Heads guys are involved in this. Jerry Harrison. Bootsy Collins is also on this one. Lyrics by the Gipper, of course, Ronald Reagan. So yeah, we begin bombing in 5 minutes. This is a essential 80s fun spin. Good single to get, and I've got multiple copies of it now. For $5, why not pick it up again, right? This one is only $4. Again, another double for me. Early Eurythmics Touch album, really early, maybe second album or something by them. But it's got some great hits. Who's That Girl? And Here Comes the Rain Again are on this one. Just a classic synth pop record. And that was that for Rotate This. So last but not least, we are going to get into another local shop. This shop is actually in Mississauga, but they have 2 locations. They have one in Toronto called High Notes, same name in Mississauga, High Notes. Started off as sort of a cafe record shop. I think the one in Toronto still does have coffee as well. Anyway, a lot of killer deals for these records. And I'm going to start off with this one, which was marked down half price. This was a Record Store Day thing. Psych rock, pretty good. Kind of more psych garage rock, just how I like it. Kind of trashy and lo-fi a little bit. Frankie and the Witch Fingers, self-titled. I think they've got a couple other records since then, but this was a Record Store Day reissue in 2022. It originally came out in 2015. One of those sort of ugly splatter vinyl things, but kind of goes with the album cover, I have to say. Almost looks like a face, the eyes. Yeah, never heard of this band. This was a total blind buy. Checked it out a little bit on my phone before I picked it up, but for half price, which turned out to be like something like $17, Frankie and the Witch Fingers came home with me. So some killer psych garage. And then the rest were super cheap heats, like $5, $6, $7. Mostly doubles that I already have, like the Vapors, $5. I didn't have this one, but I have a lot of the singles from this Tom Tom Club album. Tom Tom Club, of course, ex-members of Talking Heads, a little side project. Very funky, 1980s New York style. This one has Wordy Rapping Hood and Genius of Love, two of my favorite tracks by them on there. Finally got a copy of the old Blondie album. Didn't have this before. Might have had it at one point, but not currently. So this is a little banged up, but for $5, and likely a double copy. I'm pretty sure I have this already. Roxy Music, Flesh and Blood. Again, for $5, can't go wrong. So now we'll get into another video well, a little segment of a couple of records I had to go back to rotate this just to pick up for the collection. And I'll see you guys soon. So yeah, I had to get back into the city. A couple of those things that I wanted to get back, I missed yesterday. So I headed back to rotate this downtown Toronto, and I picked up 3 records, actually doubles. I wanted to get a second copy of this. I just could not pass it up. It was only 40 bucks for OG, Concrete Socks, and Heresy. Those that know, this is old school earache, early grindcore stuff, just ripping stuff. And I also picked up OG 999 again. Again, this is a double, and you guys are going to see some more 9s in a minute. Just love this, like UK punk from early 80s, late 70s. This is from 78. And it's only 12 bucks, so I thought, may as well get it. Also, while I was there, speaking of cheap heats, 6 bucks for the Power Station. Been on a Robert Palmer kick for a while. Yeah, so Power Station album. Of course, this has the T-Rex cover, Bang a Gong, and this has Something Like It Hot as well. So, big 80s jam. Then I worked my way over to Sonic Boom again for a quick dive into their record bins, and lo and behold, I found another 999. Actually, I like this one better than the other one I showed you. It's the second or third album. This one came out in 1980, and yeah, it's a double. I've been getting some doubles just to leave here in Toronto, sort of my second place where I'm staying. And finally, I got a Yes record. It's a little bit of prog rock here. This is only 8 bucks, so I figured why not. I just saw them live in concert, and I didn't know any of their early material, so I guess it was time to get some of the early material. Gatefold, not bad condition for 8 bucks. So as you can see, I'm just waiting for a train back to the burbs now at this point. But yeah, that's some of my recent pickups on this trip to Toronto. I'll see you guys soon.